passion is key to learning, or at least that's what everyone says, right? But what if the language you're learning has nothing to do with your interests? Maybe you're learning it for work, maybe it's required at school, or maybe it's for immigration. And then some of you might be thinking, what if I still hate it? What if I have no time? What if I just need to learn for work and equip myself for a job promotion? That's true. Having no passion for what you're doing can feel cruel and torturous. I think most of us have been there, like you're learning something not because you want to, but because school requires it, or because it might help your career. You feel bored, you struggle to stay motivated, and yet you can't just quit. It's like dragging yourself uphill with no end in sight. I've been there. Yes, you can't believe it. It was my English. And today I'm going to share 4 strategies that kept me going when I had zero passion for my target language, plus a mindset shift that changed everything for me. If you're new here, I'm Rachelle, mais Rachelle en français. Enchanté and welcome to my channel. I speak 6 languages and right now French is my biggest passion. I've promised to myself, no quitting until I'm truly fluent. One day I'm going to live in France just for the pleasure of it. If you're a fellow francophile or you are learning any new languages, you are in the right place because I'm sharing my journey, my struggles and my wins so we can learn together. Why did I fall in love with French culture? Stick around, this video will tell you more. And if you're also on your own language learning journey, I'm here to walk it with you step by step. When you hear me speaking English now, you might think I've always been fluent. But honestly, my English used to be terrible and I hated it. I'm from Hong Kong, and because we were a British colony, English was a mandatory subject at school. But I wasn't lucky enough to have a teacher who made it fun. Learning English meant memorizing endless word lists and spellings. Boring, stressful, and completely disconnected from real life. I didn't care about the language at all. And my parents, they cared so much. They pushed me to get good grades because in Hong Kong, good English can get you into university. And then, of course, a good job. I know everyone's got a similar story like, well, at first you thought, okay, I'll try, but the truth, it was boring. I kept asking myself, why am I wasting time on this? I'm never going to love it. Back then, I never thought I had the potential to be a linguist. That changed in secondary school when I met a lovely class teacher who finally made English make sense. I still remember her first lesson. She explained something so simple. When you do or don't add an S to a verb, like I love eating apples, he loves eating apples, they love eating apples. But she taught it in such a clear, fresh way, as if we were learning the language for the first time. She spoke with a beautiful English accent, and for the first time I understood English. That little win changed everything. The more I understood, the more effort I put in. The more effort I put in, the better my results. And of course, the better my results, the more I enjoyed it. Did I ever imagine I'd end up living in the UK, working in a school in England, teaching kids Mandarin Chinese in English, or even running an English-speaking YouTube channel? Not in a million years. But here we are, and you know what? I absolutely love English now. I love the British humor, I love the way it sounds, it's almost like singing, and it just shows you never say never. Right, so pass it back to you. Have you ever been forced to learn a language that you didn't love at all? You get bored, you struggled, but you still have to keep going. Before we move on to the strategies, let me know in the comments. I want to see how many of us are or have been in the same boat. Here's the thing, passion isn't always the starting point. Sometimes it's something you build along the way. Let me show you how. The first strategy is to link it to what you love. There's so many ways to connect the language you're learning with the things you already love. Don't just sit there thinking about, oh, how complicated the grammar is or how boring the vocabulary list feels. Make it fun. This is the easiest way to inject passion. Connect the language to things you already enjoy. Say for example, you love sports, you can watch a sports game in that language, such as commentaries or post-match interviews in that language. You might not understand every word at first, but you can feel the energy and the content supported by the body language. If you are a movie fan, you can watch Netflix for your favorite film subtitled or try originals from that country. And you love music, you can create a playlist entirely in that language and learn the lyrics by singing along. If you love food like I do, why not follow native cooking channels and learn the recipes straight from the source? What if you love traveling? You can simply follow vloggers from that region and explore their daily life through their YouTube channel or Instagram account. When you link the language to something you already enjoy, motivation isn't forced. It grows naturally. Suddenly, learning isn't study time anymore. It's just part of the fun you were already having. You know, one of the biggest mindset shifts for me was realizing I didn't have to separate language learning from the thing I already love. I used to stare at grammar books thinking, oh my god, this is so boring. And that's when I started asking myself, what if I just blended with my hobbies? Recalling my English learning journey, I still remember the time I regularly rented 2 Hollywood films every weekend and played them with subtitles. Every new slang and phrase I learned, I marked them in my notebook, and this notebook has become the list of word bank that I have been keeping until I finished my years in university. Once I started linking my language to things I already enjoyed, it stopped feeling like study. It became something I look forward to. That's when my passion grew without me even trying. So let me give you a challenge for this week. Link your target language to just one hobby you love. Tell me in the comment which one you pick. The second strategy is to celebrate small milestones. I know I've mentioned in one of my previous videos about being an ENFJ among all other MBTI personalities. I tend to set up different measurable goals and complete them. But killing tasks or accomplishing goals are not solely suitable for ENFJs. It's also for the majority of people. Tiny wins keep you going when passion is missing because the satisfaction is a kind of encouragement, rewarding yourself for progress, even those small ones. Imagine yourself understanding a joke in a language, ordering food without pointing at the menu, watching a scene in a movie without subtitles, and actually got it. These moments are proof that you're moving forward. Like me learning French for more than 2 years, if I didn't take the DELF A1 exam last October, I would still feel like I didn't progress anything big. Even though A1 level is only the basics of all levels, it felt huge to me. It can be believed that if I keep studying it, one day I'll be able to reach the highest level and eventually be fluent in that language. Every tiny step counts. It's actually the same thing I see my 9-year-old son. Every time I ask him to sit down and practice writing Chinese characters, he'll be like, bruh, I don't want to. But then when he happens to recognize any easy Chinese word in a book or on a TV, he'll suddenly shout it out proudly, acting like he's already mastered the whole language. And you know what? We make a big deal out of those little wins. Even though it might seem simple, every time he actively recognizes a word, we celebrate it. We remind him that he does have potential in this language. That encouragement makes him feel proud of himself, and little by little, it raises his interest and passion. At this stage, the goal is not about being perfect. It's planting the seed of curiosity and showing him that he's capable. That's exactly what celebrating small milestones does for any learner, whether you're a child or an adult. The third strategy is to use imagination and manifestation. Now I know some people roll their eyes at this, but hear me out. Now, what you're going to do is to close your eyes, imagine your future self speaking this language fluently. See yourself chatting with colleagues, making friends abroad, or presenting to your immigration officer with confidence during the interview. I personally love roleplay, so here's my before and after. Alright, let me show you you how this works in real life. Let's say you're in France trying to order coffee, and this is the before version. Bonjour, je veux café au lait, s'il vous plaît. Ouch, that was me in my early days in French. Painful, right? And this is the after version. Bonjour, je voudrais un café crème, s'il vous plaît. Et aussi un croissant, merci beaucoup. See the difference? Same person, same cafe, but one version struggles and the other version feels natural and confident. That's the power of imagination and manifestation. When you see yourself already fluent, your brain starts believing it's possible, and your actions catch up. Now let's imagine a work situation. Maybe you're in a meeting or you need to present something in French. This is the before version. Bonjour, je veux parler du projet marketing, c'est difficile expliquer. Yeah, I've been there. Totally stressful when speaking with French. This is the after version. Bonjour à tous, aujourd'hui je vais vous présenter notre projet marketing. Comme vous pouvez le voir, les résultats sont très encourageants. Merci pour votre attention. Big difference, right? When you imagine yourself delivering it fluently, you start training your brain to believe that this version of you already exists. And once you believe it, you naturally work towards becoming that person. The funny thing is that when I imagine myself speaking French fluently, I would even imagine I was some other French-speaking YouTuber who has excellent accents, even though I don't think I'm there yet. I don't worry about it because the more I work towards it, the closer I get there. The reason this works is because the brain doesn't always distinguish between the imagination and reality. The more vividly you imagine yourself succeeding, the more your mind starts to believe it's possible. And when you believe it's possible, your actions naturally follow. Some people call this the law of attraction, but really it's about training your mindset. Instead of thinking, oh, this language is too hard, I'll never get it, shift to, it's only a matter of time before I'm fluent. When you visualize fluency, you're not just daydreaming, you're building the belief that fluency is inevitable. That belief keeps you motivated, consistent, and positive. And every time you act in alignment with that vision, you bring it closer to reality. Okay, the fourth strategy. Now here's something you might not expect me to say, is to give yourself permission to quit. If you've generally tried different methods, applied all the tricks, and still your heart says no, then it's okay to stop. There are many ways to reach your dream, and not all of them require this language, to be honest. Take immigration as an example. You might say, if I don't pass the test, I can't get my passport. That's true. But that's also when you go back to the earlier strategies. Finding passions, celebrating small wins, visualizing yourself fluent, these can absolutely help. But if deep down, from the bottom of your heart, after you've tried everything, you still feel resistant, then pause and ask yourself, do I really want to build my life in this country? Is this a place I see myself happily engaging in long term? Or am I simply forcing myself through something that doesn't feel right? If this is the case, maybe the issue isn't the language. Maybe it's that this path doesn't belong to your heart. And that's okay. Let me share a personal story. When I was studying in Toulouse for half a year, I started learning French. I loved it, but when I returned to Hong Kong, French was completely useless, to be honest. Nobody around me spoke it. I had no practical reason to continue, so I quit. At that time, I didn't feel guilty at all. It just wasn't the right time for me. And years later, after moving to the UK, I suddenly had much more time and space, so I picked up this language again, this time of learning French purely for pleasure. And you know what? It felt easier. The break actually gave me the energy to fall in love with the language again. And that's the magic. Quitting doesn't mean forever. It simply means not right now. Languages, like passions often come back to us when the timing is right. So remember, walking away isn't failure, it's self-awareness. And sometimes that pause is exactly what allows us to return later, stronger and with a heart that's fully ready. Et voilà, je suis tombée amoureuse du français une deuxième fois. And the next strategy that I am sharing is actually one mindset shift that saved me from quitting. Alright, before we wrap up, here's the strategy 5, some bonus tips and a mindset shift that really helped me when my passion for language was low. First, some small daily tricks to make learning less painful. The first one is working in a micro-learning mode. Don't feel like you need hours at a time. Even just 5 or 10 minutes a day is enough to keep the momentum going. Think of it as tiny drops filling a big cup over time. And the second one is finding a low-pressure speaking partner. Find someone you can talk to without fear of judgment, someone who encourages you, laugh with you when you mess up, and celebrates your wins. So voila, here's the mindset shift that I promised I would be sharing is that you do not need passion to start. Seriously, passion often comes later, after you see progress. The key is consistency. Showing up every day, even for a little while, and gradually you'll find yourself enjoying the journey more than you expected. I personally don't have any problem learning French because I love this language so much. But I think, on the other side, this is kind of similar to how I maintain and develop my YouTube channel. I have a passion for creating content, but when it comes to editing or doing fancy filming, my passion can disappear quickly. What keeps me going? Celebrating small wins. Every time a new video goes live, I take a moment to acknowledge it. That little celebration keeps my momentum and my passion alive. The key is consistency. I remind myself that progress, even small progress, builds passion. Thinking back my first YouTube video, it's shaky, maybe a bit messy, but I posted it anyway. I was so happy and celebrated it. Oui, j'ai publié ma première vidéo. Yes, I published my first video. Now, imagine the same feeling with French. You speak your first full sentence without hesitation. Oui, je parle français. Yes, I spoke French. Tiny victories like these keep your momentum alive, whether it's learning a language or creating content. See, just a few seconds, but every little interaction like this builds confidence and keeps your brain in practice. It's tiny, fun, and completely doable every day. And this is certainly why I speak French in my YouTube channel. Even though this is not yet the language I master, remember, progress breeds passion, not the other way around. So if you're feeling stuck or unmotivated, just start small and trust that the excitement will follow. You might not love your target language yet, but you can still succeed. And who knows, passion might just sneak in along the way. Thank you for watching my video. I would love to hear your experiences in the comments. If this video helped you, give it a thumb up and subscribe for more video about language learning. À la prochaine, au revoir!